Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you all, thank you all, thank you all out there. My name is Demetrius Knowles. This is Julio Guzman. We have a special guest. We're coming to you live now from downtown. We're at Talk Visual 305. We have a very special guest we were able to capture today, and we would like to drop some gems on you guys. So I would like to say, hey, I hope you guys are listening. We got some good stuff for you. So Julio, who do we got?
Yeah, we got a really special guest. He's going to tell us a lot of things that are happening specifically with the VA. We've got former Councilman Tom Davis in the building with us today. He's a 34-year veteran. He's also an educator at Colonial Christian. He teaches government to his students. So please help us give a warm welcome to Councilman Tom Davis.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you very much. That's very kind.
So good morning to you. First and foremost, we want to say thank you for coming on. One of the things we like to talk about, we first say, we like to give you your flowers. I know men typically don't like flowers, but we say it anyway. Thank you for the things you have done. Thank you for the things you're currently doing. And thank you for the things you will do in the future. We want to say welcome to our podcast, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for having me. And thank you for what you do with our community, that you just give a voice to so many things. It's a wonderful thing that you're doing.
Very good, sir. Well, it's a pleasure to have you on. So we want to dive in here. So Julio, I'll let you bring it in. So let's crack it off.
Let's first talk a little bit about Tom, his personal life. How did you get to Homestead? And tell us a little bit about the story that drew you to Homestead.
Well, actually, Homestead Reserve Base was my last posting. I was in the Army National Guard as a full-timer as an active duty.
Okay.
I got posted to the Homestead Armory here, which is
right.
the former federal property. And then an opportunity for a promotion came in the Air Force Reserve, and I took it. So I got promoted to Lieutenant Colonel. I changed services.
Right.
And then retired. We just stayed here. We like our community. It's a great community to be in.
Thank you for your service, sir.
Oh,
Appreciate
thank you.
You did 2 tours in Afghanistan.
Correct.
We don't often get times to talk too much to people that have been on tours. Can you tell us kind of what are some of the most memorable things you've got about those tours?
Well, as you deploy, you really remember why it is you're in uniform. You're there to protect your country, protect the Constitution, and now you got to put up or shut up. You got to do it. And so I embraced that. I thought it was great because I was pretty old when I went, comparatively to the young men there. I turned 47 on my first deployment.
Okay.
And I was commanding the troops, and all that kind of stuff. And I was holding my own. It was good. Now I'm kind of beat up, but we'll get over that. But there comes that moment that you gotta show your receipts, or you're gonna do it. That's one big thing. The other thing is the camaraderie and the leadership that goes on. You just can't beat it. And you read stories. Okay, that's a neat story, about the 504th or something. But then you start living it, and then you start realizing these are the people that we rely on each other. It's a great, in that regard, it's a great memory to see that.
Right.
Are there any movies in Hollywood that accurately portray what really goes on?
Oh, I'll tell you, Saving Private Ryan. I was watching that last night. That was just
like one of the top.
Yeah, it's great. And it is so accurate in many ways, and particularly about the relationship of the troops as they get along, and the leadership, the burden of leadership.
Right.
It's a great
that
movie.
really touches home, right?
The other question I have is, when you come back, and some of the closest friends that you were able to build relationships with, the PTSD, have you been familiar with close friends that have had PTSD, and how do you notice that someone is going through that?
Well, I mean, every soldier, military person that comes back has a burden of stress,
Right?
And some are high and some are low. Ultimately, I'll tell you who notices it first is the spouse.
Okay.
And we used to hand out these cards at the Speedway.
Right.
Mental health counseling is available here for soldiers. And a lot of guys would be like, that ain't for me. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how many times a spouse would come back and say, give me the card. Because they see the difference. And we look at it with guys, but that's our female soldiers and service members as well. So you go from being a sergeant, a female sergeant in charge of a convoy, you know what I mean? That's scary duty.
Right.
To handing out cupcakes in the 3rd grade birthday. You know what I mean?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And
what an adjustment.
Overnight, yeah. And so that counseling can be necessary to help get a to help get a firm foundation again.
Right.
And that's one of the things that we'll lead into with the VA hospital.
Right.
That is virtually a non-existent in our South Dade, Monroe County kind of world here.
Right. So what inspired you to pursue the industry that you end up getting into today?
Well, actually, working at Colonial Christian, and that's why Jessica and I believe it was God-led that I go there. When you're in the military, they always say, "Oh, well, you can always be a teacher. You can do this." And I ain't teaching shit. I ain't doing that. You know, I've been pushing troops all these years. I'm done.
That's it.
And now it's the best job I ever had.
Wow.
I just love. I love teaching middle school kids, and yes, it can be very frustrating from time to time. But you know, they're so much fun, and they're so open to what you got to tell them. And with little ones like that, the 6th and 7th graders.
Oh, you're molding the mind at that point.
Well, and you never know what they think is something brilliant. And all of a sudden it's like, what are you doing? You know? And then, well, you know, it's fun. And then my seniors, it's really neat because I teach government and American history. That's one of the virtues of a small school like Colonial Christian. You're not pigeonholed. You're you know. And of course, I try to get them energized that you make a difference.
Right.
Figure it out, you know, and I give them examples in Scripture where you have other people. You know, you have Joseph and Daniel and Nehemiah. All those guys, they had to figure it out.
Right.
You can figure it out. And so as we were talking before filming, we're all on the spectrum of kids that just kind of go in the tack in the wind. They're not ready for that big challenge yet. To kids that want to make a difference. You know what I mean? So it's really kind of cool. You see everything in between.
So speaking on education, your leadership style is different when you're commanding troops to teaching high school students.
Somewhat, right?
You know,
the teachers say, "Oh, he's the drill sergeant."
That's right.
well, and I like it because anyone that's gone through basic training knows that it's not as hard as you think it is. It's very hard. It's very difficult, but they're messing with you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
They're up close and personal.
6th graders are so much fun. You know what I mean? But you know, you bring the leadership tools that you have in uniform are directly transferable to school. Yes, you're not hollering at people, but in reality, I very rarely did that in military. You treat soldiers with respect. You know, and if you screw up, you got to deal with it, but you don't demean them. You don't, you know, or a good leader doesn't do that. It happens from time to time. But that's the same kind of tool set you bring with young people. You know, don't just tell me what you're about. Show me what you're about. Just, you know, and you teach that kind of lesson with the kids. You know, and it's good. I really enjoy it. Yeah.
So Colonial Christian is a private school or public school?
Correct. Private school.
Private school.
Yeah. Is that here in Homestead? I would assume.
It is. It's right on 296, just
down the street.
Couple hundred meters from Chrome Avenue.
So your average classroom, the number of students, is what is the average number of students in your classroom?
I'd say about 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like everything else, there's that 80-20 rule, I think. So even with students, you're going to have maybe 20% of the students that really want to learn and dive in, and then you got the other 80%. And I don't know if that's true or not. Right. But maybe you can help answer that. You've got a few that really want to learn and they excel dramatically, and then you've got a few that are just kind of getting by because they don't really understand what they want to do yet.
Yes.
As a sixth grader. You know.
Yes and yes. You know, well, and sixth graders have different motivations too. I mean, they want to. Their mind is on playing ball. Their mind is whatever. You know. But that's again where that leadership comes in because you got to find a way to motivate them. And one of my additional duties out there at Colonial Christian is Dean of Secondary Discipline. Okay. And so it's kind of cool. They look at me and they go the other way. You know.
Teacher's coming.
Yeah, get out of Davis's way quick. But my job ain't chewing them out. My job is saying, "Hey, dude, let's talk about this. This ain't right," you know. And can we share? Can we pray about it? Can we talk about it? Because I have no desire to write you up. Right. I have a desire to see you be successful.
Well said.
And so some respond to that well, and some not so well. But you know, it's all part of life. And what's really neat is you'll have a young person that is just completely a knucklehead in 6th and 7th grade, and all of a sudden they're graduating. It's like, dude, you're going somewhere.
That's right. That's right.
Complete. I don't know where you're going, but you're going. You're going to get there.
No, and I'm sure that you'll be that person that has motivated students, and one day when they become president of the United States. Say, you know what, I had a teacher,
Well,
Mr. Davis, that really turned my life around.
Right.
And you know, you can only hope it'll be that way, because that was part of what I was telling. We were chatting with the other teachers before school ended up, and I remember those guys. You know, Mr. Plappard, Mr. Hanna, Miss Moniger, that took time with me. And this was in, what, 1977, 1979. I hate to admit how old I am, but yes,
So
I am.
they were very impactful, huh?
And I still remember them. And of course, they're long gone, but yeah, that's the kind of way we need to be, or we need to try to be.
Well, at least they didn't know him for paddling, you know.
Yeah. So do you think there's more interest from the students in government or history?
I think if they have an interest in history, they have an interest in government.
Right.
And government, it depends on particularly how you present it.
Yeah.
Right.
Because that could be so dry. This is how Congress works, and this is the pro tem, and this is, you know, whatever, the whip. No, stop. This you've got to give it to them in a way that this is how it works, and this is where we fit in.
Right.
Because it's not just this ethereal kind of thing. No, there's a mechanism here, and there's a mechanism that we can plug into to be heard while we do it.
So what led you to that school? I mean, you could have chose to go anywhere. You chose that school.
Well, actually, before I retired, my daughter was attending, and then, you know, we liked it. It's a great environment. The teachers are great. I mean, you don't hear me singing more praises to Colonial Christian. And so when I retired, I didn't know what I was going to do, and I applied, and there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Well, we really felt God had led us there, because I was very open-minded to move on. I mean, I had moved around all over the nation in my active duty years and what have you. And, you know, everywhere you go, there's a new church, there's new friends, there's new opportunities, and it's up for you to find them, you know, and to maximize it. So I was unafraid to move on, but I opened up, and it's like, oh, I reckon we're staying here.
So how do you see the industry evolving as far as the one you're in today?
Well, I think that the governor and those efforts of the state to have to allow choice has been great, because and you see, I think it's a very cool phenomenon. You see private schools and charter schools and stuff that are rising up, and you see public schools that are really up in their game now. You know, and I think that is
sharpening it up.
That competition is awesome.
Is it because of the funding thing? I mean, obviously, I've seen now C&D school now become AB schools. Is that to get the A rating is really what they're after? Or?
I don't know. I don't know if I can talk to that necessarily, but I do know that there's been a lot. I think it's a very healthy competition. Because and bottom line, the Colonial Christian will never have the chemistry lab, that a big public high school will have, but we do other things, and now parents have a choice between that.
Which is always very good, you know?
I think there's power behind when you galvanize young students to talk about a specific theme and something that they want to change. For example, VA. We understand that VA is very underfinanced. You know, there isn't enough financing, there isn't enough people talking about the need for VA to be more prevalent, specifically
and I never
in
understood that.
Miami-Dade County, because, and Tom can tell us, exponentially, the number of, soldiers or veterans that need the service has gone up dramatically, and the services haven't kept up with how much the service is needed. Tom, can you tell us you gave us some statistics earlier on Monroe, Dade, and Broward County, how the number of veterans have gone up, but it hasn't. The hospitals there haven't been any new hospitals.
Correct. And so we live in a community that the Bruce Carter Hospital, VA hospital, downtown Miami, it was opened in 1968, and so our population between Dade, Broward, and Monroe County has tripled since that hospital was open. So we have that little clinic here that's essentially remained the same. And they do well to take your urine sample and your blood sample, but then they send you downtown for care. That's been open. Our population here has quadrupled since 2000. But where are the services for the veterans? And not too long ago, There was a veteran that actually climbed the scaffolding at the Champions at the raceway, and he was going to commit suicide. And fortunately, between the police and fire, they managed to talk the guy down.
Wow. Good. Very good.
But another veteran that didn't get resources. I mean, those things are really, really neat. And as we talked about mental health before we started filming. So you have people that were in a real combat situation, and generally soldiers kind of understate that stress. But you go from an example I gave Julio was you go from a female sergeant in the Army running a convoy. Talk about high stress. That's high stress job.
Right.
Doing a good job, you come home and now you're taking cupcakes to the third grade birthday, with the other moms and parents. But my point is, okay, that is a huge change, and one that's worthy of being able to express to a counselor, just to make sure your feet are on solid ground.
Right.
And all those types of things are not here. If you want to if you need an X-ray, an MRI, a CAT scan, all those routine things, you got to go downtown. And even though you hear me singing the praises of Colonial Christian, very military supportive, I can't tell my boss, I got to take another day off to go downtown and another day off to go downtown because it's all day.
Right.
And so a lot of veterans are not even using the resources that are available to them.
And it's because of the distance. Obviously, downtown, it's 45 minutes on a good day.
On a good day.
And that's one way.
So. Well, we have veterans now that in Key Largo, and they'll get on a 15-pack van or a bus, kind of thing, and they're on there like 5:30 in the morning.
Wow.
They got to go all the way downtown. They got to get there before the first person's appointment, and they can't come home until the last person is done. And so they're there all day long, and they're fighting traffic both ways. And it's like, what are we doing? What are we thinking? We got veterans in Key West. That's a 300-mile round trip. Wow. And so who's using it? Nobody's using it. And it ends up being a very destructive circle, I believe.
Right.
That the VA says, well, we don't do very much here because we don't have a lot of veterans. Well, the veterans say, I'm not using the VA because they don't do very much for me.
Right.
And then so there you go. It's that bureaucracy that just kind of this
clogging the pipe, as we say.
Yeah, really. They used to call it a toad in the road. And that's what we see here.
Tom, you made some headway while you were on council with the VA, and there were some talks about potentially getting a new VA hospital. Can you speak a little on some of the bottlenecks you encountered?
And fortunately, that is not dead. I'm delighted. And kudos to Mayor Losner and Dr. Ayacueba, the city manager.
Right.
Part of the plan for the redevelopment of the old City Hall property was setting aside 2.5 acres or so, it's undefined, area for the VA to set up a hospital, a medical facility there. And it's in the corner, the southeast corner where you used to pay your electric bill. That building that's there.
Okay.
And then...
just to tell everybody, it's not where the Flanagans is going, so don't...
the opposite end of the Flanagans.
On the other opposite end.
But who does that? You know what I mean? What a beautiful community. And that's why you don't hear me speaking ill of our community at all.
Right.
I've been around, and I've never seen a more supportive military community than Homestead. They're wonderful.
Yeah.
And so we had that opportunity. We did a letter writing campaign, and we still have the cards. I'll get to the process in a moment. So we have all that done. And now we just need to get it across the finish line.
Wow.
And my students, I'm giving them work to do. I'm your mentor, but
that's it, homework.
I was a colonel, so it's like I know exactly how to make you guys work really hard. And so they're in the process of doing a change.org and getting media together and getting that outreach out there. And what I'm calling on the community is to be like my students, that it's time, not one person that I talk to in our community, I tell them about the plight of veterans and what we need. They all say, well, that's terrible. We need to do better with that.
Right.
Now it's time to shift that effort into saying, yeah, we recognize that issue, and to shift it to saying, now we're going to do something about it. We're going to get together and do something about it.
I remember there was some talk in Florida City, across from the Mutineer, like where the Florida City Outlet Mall is. They're developing land now. I think it's Lennar. It used to be Century Home Builders. And there was talks about a VA hospital coming. Back then, they were going to do this big development, and that was part of that plan. I wonder if we could get Florida City folks. Well, you're already in talks with the VA, right?
We've reached out to the VA. What we're doing is, what we discovered with the VA is that bureaucracy is set. I mean, here we are, we're offering them $1 million property. And the lease would be written up. How it is. As long as it's used for veterans, that kind of thing is for $1 a year. It's 1.5 miles from the Turnpike. It's 1.5 miles from Chrome Avenue. It's across the street from the busway.
Right.
US 1 is right there. It's easily accessible to everybody.
Perfect.
No, we don't want. No. We don't have that kind of need. Yes, you do.
Right.
And so what we're doing is essentially bypassing the VA leadership. Now we're going to their boss. We're going to Congressman Jimenez, who's a huge supporter. The letter writing campaign is going to be knocking on the door of the Vice President and the Secretary of Defense, or Secretary of the Army, Secretary of War rather. And now we're going to make our voice be. You don't want to listen to us? You don't want to take care of your vets? Now you got to answer to them.
Right.
Okay, so you don't necessarily have to talk to state reps. You're going straight to federal. You're going to the Pentagon, basically.
Well, but that's not entirely accurate.
Department of War.
Department of War.
Yeah.
It's confusing.
A gray hair like me, I'm still calling it Department of Defense. No. What I'm trying to get the students to get their head around is it ain't you fighting. It's building a team that's going to fight.
Right.
And so we have great state reps, state senator. All these people are interested. Now we got to convincingly get them on the team.
Right.
And part of what my mentoring with the students is, we can make an emotional argument, we can make a anecdotal argument, but what gets it across the finish line is a factual argument. You gotta have your facts lined up, and then they know that you're serious about.
So what are you comparing the statistics to in terms of number of veterans that need? Is there another veterans hospital in another city that you want to,
emulate after?
And it's all over. Lakeland has a VA hospital. Tampa has a VA hospital. You go to St. Augustine.
That place is beautiful.
But right off to the south side of St. Augustine, they have a beautiful. It's not a hospital. It's like a Leon, kind of a clinic.
Okay.
And they have less population than we do.
Right. I see.
Why are they so hesitant to make that leap? And I believe as we build that coalition, it's a very nonpartisan an effort.
Right.
I think they'll come to the table.
Do you think that most still think that Homestead is still the farmer's town and there's nothing out there for them, for the reason why they still think, why wouldn't they bring it here, like you said, St. Augustine? It's much smaller population and they have the nice hospital for the VA. Why is it that Homestead should have been a no-brainer to them? Okay, you providing me the land and access from any point from the Keys. That's a shorter drive than going to downtown. That's almost less than halfway point. So what do you think the reasoning is behind, in your opinion?
In my opinion, and again, the VA workers at our clinic are wonderful. I think it's flabby staff work. That's all there is to it. It's the easy answer. We don't want to deal with that, and so we're going to put this Band-Aid on. One more Band-Aid.
The path of least resistance.
It is.
Right? Don't give us more work to do.
And the reason I have no patience for that, to be honest, you got a senior executive service, SES, that's in charge of the hospital. You got all kind of GS-15s and 14s and all these high-ranking, high-paid people.
Right.
It's your job to know the demographic makeup of Miami-Dade County.
Yes, especially more now than before.
Yeah.
I mean, as you said, we're doubling and tripling in size, but the resources seem to be still at a small size.
Correct.
It's not growing with the population.
Or focused downtown.
Focus only downtown, which is not cool anymore. Back in the day, it probably was, but not now.
So you got to just make a lot of noise to bring more attention to it. So are the students that are gathering your statistics to make the argument? How far along are they? Have they gathered sufficient information?
Actually, they're doing really well. I think
we'd love to have them on too.
Yeah,
I already told them it's not optional. I think they have a brilliant mentor. if it comes right down to it. But
Yes,
but
just,
no,
just saying.
just an observation. But no, they're doing really well. And what's cool is you see the evolution in the students that they want to be in the room, or in a room where it happens. Reaching to Hamilton.
Right.
Yeah. And now they get it. You got to earn that.
Right.
And they're doing that. They're being innovative. And what's really cool as well is that, they were on board and okay, we'll check this out kind of thing. But when you explain the need, when I took them to the clinic and you go in the first floor and of that building, it just smells like a dirty locker room, And this is where your veterans go, and the parking lot's full up, and it needs to be resurfaced, what have you.
Right.
Then they got it. It's like that's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is that really cool? Ding.
When it clicks.
Yeah, kind of moment.
Yeah.
It was really neat.
I think most of the time it always boils down to money.
Right.
But in this particular case, we don't know that to be true if it boils down to money.
Because you got the land and so forth.
It might be they just don't feel like doing the work. Listening to Tommy saying, I think the VA people, some of them, maybe they just don't feel like going through the process to make it happen. But if you bang on the door hard enough and make enough noise, you got their attention, and now you've got to answer some of these questions. If the statistics show that the need is overwhelming.
Right. And I think they're afraid of the word no.
Well, and what I'm looking to do is I want the VA to justify why they're not doing it. We're going to lay out that stuff.
Put it
and
in their
now
court.
it's like, dude, tell me why this isn't
Well, just
important to you.
tell me what we can do to get it done, versus you cannot. No, go away.
Yeah.
Or you always say, make this make sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's bottom line. Make it make sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the other day there was actually a silver alert for a veteran that was going down to the hospital. He got lost, and I don't know where they found him, but you know what I mean. But the bottom line is, it's a long trek for a senior to drive to.
Right.
So there's lots of need. My hat is off to Mayor Losner and Dr. Iacueva. I mean, who does that? Because that's money.
Big
That
deal.
could be developed into a condo
Oh, yeah,
or
prime
whatever.
property.
And they said, no, we're putting it aside for the
purpose.
veterans. And then Congressman Jimenez is on board. And the intent is we have all those orange cards.
Right.
We're going to do a big card dumping ceremony with him, and it's like, please pay attention. And then we're going to mail them to the principals.
In this social media era that we live in, I think there's power also in testimonials and videos that you do with veterans,
That wants to come on. And
saying, we're really struggling here. We need help. And the government doesn't seem to want to provide that help. You get enough of those. One of those goes viral. Now you've got some media attention, and now.
And I'll tell you, that's why I love working with students, because they get there quicker than we do.
Right.
And I got one of the ones that's delegated to media, various media. She's already working on that. And my job is to get her the resources to interview. Oh my gosh, there's spouses that are willing to get on and say, I've watched my husband struggle, and it's brought great struggle to our family.
Right.
Where is the stuff we're
Where's
supposed
the
to
support,
have?
right?
He got blown up in Iraq.
Right.
And
Serving the country.
where are you now?
Yeah.
Well, we're heavy supporters of what you're doing. We
Right.
think it's great. We want you to continue to lead that effort. If there's anything our audience can help with, is there a specific call to action that people watching can help out with, or do you want your students to lead that?
I want the students to do it. But thank you.
Yes.
And the intent for our audience, the intent is, and we're joking about mentoring, but the intent is I'm trying to get them ready to be in the room where it happens.
Okay.
Right.
And you got to do these preparatory things, and then you come in. And you, like this
Then you
forum,
ask, right.
I have to work with them so that even if you're all jumbled up inside, you still act like you're all
That's
that.
it.
You know what I mean? And you're squared away.
Right.
So they're going to talk to you about media. They're going to talk to you about change.org. They're going to talk to you about all that stuff. But there's if I can leave you with anything, it's Johan Gokul, who is a homestead Florida City native, a local, was on the Cole.
Johan Gokul.
Johan.
Gokool.
Johan Go.
G-O-K.
G-O. KOOL.
Okay.
And yeah, you can Google him today, and there's actually
That
NBC
last name,
News.
is it from Trinidad?
I don't know. That I don't know.
Cool.
But he was in the coal when the coal was struck by terrorists in Yemen.
Okay.
Help us understand, what is the coal?
I'm sorry. I'm talking like an old timer again. I'm sorry.
That's it.
The USS Cole was a Navy ship
Okay.
that was
that got
docked
struck.
in Yemen, and what happened was the terrorists had essentially a fishing boat, but they had it was loaded with explosives.
Yeah.
It was a suicide mission, and they were just going by. And they took a left turn. You know what I mean? And the ship couldn't even react to it in time.
Right.
And so it put a huge hole in the ship, almost sank it.
Right.
But he was trapped in the ship, and he survived. But he paid the price for his country. He paid a very high price. I mean, he had traumatic brain injury and emotional PTSD. Lost a limb, but ultimately he came back home. He was discharged, of course. He came back home, relying on VA, and the VA was not there for him. And at a point, he took his own life. Okay.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And I can't guarantee that with every care in the world that wouldn't happen, because he was in a very fragile place. But I'll tell you, he didn't have a damn chance without it.
Right.
And you know what's changed since his passing? Zero.
Wow.
20 years of war. All these National Guardsmen, whatever, that have gone, reservists that have gone, and the VA has not kept pace. And I guarantee you there's another Gokul out there who needs assistance. And one thing that a lot of our viewers don't get, when you go to a big military installation like Fort Hood, Texas, I mean, you got the 1st Cav Division, you got an infantry division there, there's a gajillion troops. Well, we don't have that here. But what we do have, we're heavy in reservists and National Guardsmen. And that's who deploys in our community. They're your neighbors. Why aren't we taking care of our neighbors?
So one of the things that do at base too is I'm a part of the Military Affairs Council out there, and part of our initiative is to kind of help with the active duty, and also we raise funds to give away back to the military for active and also retirees. So I mean, I don't know how we can entangle the two to say if they can come to one of our meeting on the base, if that's possible.
Oh, I'd be great.
And I'll speak to see if that's possible. I mean, if they can come out and see what goes on in the room, and so they can get a feel of being on base itself too. So maybe that's something we can take on as an initiative.
I think that'd be great. And this is the kind of community that's going to make this happen.
Right.
It's not Tom Davis. It's not my students. It's not solely Congressman Jimenez.
Right.
It is the team that says, you don't get it. We want this. And look at the benefit for Homestead Air Reserve Base.
Yeah.
With the VA hospital here, people can get various treatments. You have a lot of deployers at Homestead that have deployed over there. And now look at what we're looking at. Another conflict with Iran, you know. And because since Bruce Carr, you've had Gulf War I, Gulf War II, Bosnia.
Was the Desert Storm part of it too?
You had all these conflicts, but the VA has essentially remained unchanged, and that's what we have to.
Well, that's the one thing that shouldn't be consistent, right? They should definitely want to modify that. They say one thing is consistent is they leaving it the same, but the negative to that is that technology in time, and with the population growing, with all the all these conflicts that's occurring. They need to modernize and also make it centrally located for those who are moving from one area to another area, that they're able to have the resources necessary to help them.
Right, and I think that's very well said. And that is something that, that bureaucracy has been lagging. But to their credit, Secretary Collins, who's actually a reservist, and he still drills like a reservist, they've been making pains to change, and I think now is a great time to make our argument.
Our country outspends any other military in the world, right? And we're the greatest military, and we can flex really hard our might, for the world to see. But it doesn't seem like that spending is happening on the back end.
I would agree. Or as a former process manager, intelligent spending on the back end. Because
Right,
where's the money going? I think that's another big thing that the VA, to Collins's credit, has been doing.
Right.
Where's the money going? Why
Right.
is this making sense?
So, and all the money that Elon Musk found does, right? I mean, some of that could have funded
Yeah.
various VA hospitals. You know,
So-
some of the savings that we found there.
It's always like, when the lights turn off, when the cameras are off, the real work begins. And that's what stays the same that needs to change when the cameras are off. Because when the cameras are beautiful, you can see all those beautiful
Yeah.
things. It's
Yeah.
all live, and we're going to do it. Get with my office.
Yeah.
And then you do that, and this person becomes not available.
Thank you.
That's really the clog in the pipe that we need
Yeah.
them to get out of their way for.
And I think that this plan will accomplish that. I
Yeah.
really think that that'll happen. And
Yeah.
because again, no one ever says no.
Right.
That's this terrible idea. Everyone thinks it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Now we have to change into that action. And,
Action.
I was
And that's
buzzing you
typically
in.
what we would like to see more of, right? I mean, as we
Good
have our
meeting you,
podcast downtown,
We're
this purpose was
finishing up
solely
with Tom,
to
but come on in. Come
to
on
leave
in.
a crumb for the next generation. And it happened organically. But most importantly, I would like to see more of, the awareness here, the awareness to our vets to make sure that they are getting all the support necessary. And as we use our platform, we want to make sure that we're using it for all the right reasons.
Yeah.
So we do appreciate everything you have done and
Well,
for
thank you.
and continue to do and to try to do that. Kudos to all that's out there that's doing their part, right? As we all need to do our part.
And you're going to like my students. They're awesome.
We look forward
they are
to
great. And
we look forward to truly meeting them.
and they've taken this on, and none of them have a military background. None of their families have been military.
Right.
But they get it. They get it why it's important, and they get it that they can make a difference. It takes a lot of work,
Yes.
but you can make a difference.
And
Well
one,
said.
one last thing is the Military Affairs Council, the VFW,
Right.
Tom's students,
Right.
bring all those together as one collective effort,
Right.
and let's make as much noise as we can.
Oh yeah,
Well
the
said.
VFW's been great, and the American Legion as well. They've been great, and that's what I'm saying. It's just going to take that. As they say, you cross the line of departure when you're doing your tactics. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
You have your line of departure, then you engage the enemy. Okay, we got to have someone leading the troops across the line of departure,
Well said.
and to engage to the objective. And yeah, okay, let it be high school students that learn the skills to put that coalition together.
So who are
Right
some
here.
of the students we can anticipate having on here?
Well, you're going to have Melody Valet.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have Kelly Orgalis,
Okay.
and they've been doing yeoman's work with us.
Okay.
And both are with family right now. Fine.
Right.
But we've been in communication via email. I'm not letting them off the hook. You can take a break, but not that much of a break. And I think they'll be ready. I really do. I think they'll have a good plan together.
Well said. So, as we wrapped up, there's anything else you would like for our audience to know about anything upcoming function or fundraisers, or anything that you would need for them to know, or any particular number, or that they can kind of chime in with, so we can say, hey, go to this. Let's help this initiative.
Right, and in the next few days,
Yes.
they're going to be launching the. We've got a little bit
Okay.
ahead of ourselves
Right,
with this,
right.
but I wasn't going to pass up the opportunity to speak with you.
Understood.
Instagram site and Facebook site. And I told them to not only do the quick things that kids do,
Right.
which is effective communicating,
Right.
but we also got to reach the gray hairs like me. So that means you need to have a Facebook page. You know what I mean? And spell
right.
it out a little better. To let them know that those things are out there, and you're going to be hearing a lot. So please take my students seriously, because this is a very serious topic.
Right.
And as we talked about, what community does this? Essentially donating $1 million property
Right.
to the VA to make a hospital, and you don't pay attention. Shame on you.
And
you know?
getting a bunch of people to sign a petition that doesn't hold any weight, in favor of bringing a VA hospital down here?
What I've shared with my students is that property, of course, is not going to be there forever. If they're not going to take it, they're not going to take it.
Right.
So the next time, and this is the tactics involved with them that I'm trying to share with them, as we move forward, this next at-bat needs to be a home run.
Okay.
Right.
And that's why you get everybody
Right.
lined up,
Okay.
and then and then just hit that home run.
That's right.
And because very rarely do you get a home run. I mean,
Right, right.
It's life.
Get one swing at it.
Thank you. life is a series of base
right.
hits. You know what I mean? And then you just make it your way around. You very rarely get a home run, so we gotta prepare for that home run. I know I'm talking your language.
Well, guys,
We want to hit a home run.
as we wrap it, we want to say thank you for coming on with
you
us
very
today. We are Talk Visual 305. We are downtown. Guys, please like and subscribe. We would definitely like to hear more from you. Please, I know the comments are off, but I can see the like of everyone that's posting the stuff. So thank you, guys, for all that you have done and what you continue to do. And thank you, sir, for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much for having me.
We'll see you again soon.
Appreciate you. Thank you very much.
So with that being said, guys, Talk Visual 305, we're out.